Independent grind powered by Tech 9.
All right, cool. So I guess we're sitting here with Madchild, just getting started. Can you tell me a little bit about initially, way back to when you first got into music?
When I first got back into music. Wow, we're going back there right off the bat. Okay. Yeah, man, I got into hardcore and, well, as a kid, I got into all kinds of music. I think we all listen to different types of music to sort of find our identity. And I kind of got into like hardcore and punk rock first as like a young skateboarder. And when I found, Ice-T, Rhyme Pays, and LL Cool J, Radio, and Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew, and all, Big Daddy Kane and Cool G Rap, I had found my music. I had found my identity. Once I found hip hop, I never moved on from that. I still go back music. Like I always go back to Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and all that kind of music is other kind of music I like to listen to. But hip hop is my life now. I'd found myself.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you moved to San Francisco when you were around 20. I'm curious if you ever got into sort of like, if that scene at all, the sort of the Bay Area scene influenced you at all.
Yeah, that's where it all started for me. I went out there to work on being a rapper. I was, young. I was working at different places, pizza places and stores, and sleeping on couches, sleeping in my car, whatever. Just a young kid trying to make it. And Dell from Hieroglyphics heard my music, and he came out to the extra large store. I was working on Haight Street, and he said, I mess with, I like your music. I want to do some work with you. I was really happy, and I got to do a song with DJ Qbert, who of course is one of the best DJs in the world. And I worked with professional skateboarder Tommy Guerrero. He was a pro skater for Pau Peralta. So like a bunch of cool things happened like that when I was a kid. And I lived in the Bay Area for 2.5 years, and then I moved back to Vancouver. And during that time when I was in San Francisco, Prevail was doing the same kind of thing in San Diego. And he stopped in to meet me on the way back to Vancouver. And when I moved back to Van, we met up again at a house party, and that's how we were rapping for like an hour and a half, and that's how we started Swollen Members.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to actually touch on Swollen Members, and I'm curious, you obviously were with them for a while, and then you sort of ventured out on your own. What was that transition like from going from a group to a solo?
It was exciting. It was fun. Like I went through some hard times, people are probably aware. I went through a drug addiction, so that took up 4 years of my life. So when I got off of those painkillers, I had to do some soul searching. I was like, what do I want to do now? And I came back to still wanting to make music. Like that's what I still wanted to do. But I wanted things to be a little different this time. Just, you got to switch things up once in a while. So it was no disrespect to Swollen Members. We all still have love for each other, and there's a good chance we still may do an album and do a world tour one day. But I needed to go and try this myself. I had always wanted to try it, and it was just a fun experience. It was different. I wouldn't say either one's better. It's just different, so it kind of makes it more fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say it's more fun now. It's like I rode that wave too, and that's been dope. And I miss my guys as well.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. What are some of the sort of, I guess, positives or negatives, the drawbacks to doing solo versus a group, and how does that sort of in the creation process? How does that change?
Well, when you're solo, it's definitely easier to tour around and go on your own schedule. When you're in a group, you have to be considerate of like having a second family, especially if you've been in it for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we all got along for that long is pretty amazing. They're really great guys, Rob the Viking and Prevail, and Mocha only when he was in the group. They're all a bunch of great guys, so I was very blessed to have them as a group.
Absolutely. And then I also know that you talked about a little bit about touring and stuff. That's a big part of your sort of, I think, how you guys have made a name for yourself and how you've created such a rabid fan base. But I'm curious, sort of, when you were banned from the U.S., actually, how did you maintain that connection when you weren't able to tour?
I just started hitting people over the head with, it's like, I'm just going to go into full beast mode and start writing and shooting videos, start hitting people over the head with videos and song after song after song. That's a place I'd like to get back to in the near future after I do this world tour I'm about to go on. I'm going to take some time and really get back to that place and just start swinging again. You know, it's like you keep hitting people over the head, and eventually it's gonna have a result. And I was very, you know, very thankful for how things are going. But I'm having fun still, so I'm gonna keep rocking. You know.
Absolutely. And when you are touring, I know is it harder to record, or I guess are you recording when you're touring? That's always an interesting dynamic for me as artists on tour. You know, tours are so crazy and so busy, but trying to find time to record.
The studio, if you're rolling, like flying places and like rolling in like a, you know, one of those Mercedes vans or like a SUV, you know, you're going hotel to hotel, so it's a lot harder. If you're not getting a lot of off days. These days, I don't record as much what I'm doing. Where I bring a setup, and I'll set up in a hotel room. But I've been doing a lot of features lately. I've taken some time off from doing that. So I just wait till I get home and make an album.
You said, you know, you talk about setting up in a hotel and everything. And I know you've been doing a lot of traveling lately. Like you went to India and stuff. I guess does traveling open up a different part of you creatively?
Yeah, I mean, India was a definitely different cultural experience. It was really positive and cool. Yeah, just going around and touring, and you know, I tour Australia a lot, and America and Canada and Europe and the UK and Mexico, you know, Japan, you name it. So connecting with different people all over the world is a very special experience. And you make homies and friends. I'm out here with Buck right now in Oklahoma City at the Gathering, and we just had lunch, hung out, and had a, you know, good time hanging out. It's just nice to make friends through music. It's a cool experience.
Absolutely. And I know the Gathering's always crazy. Is there any sort of crazy Gathering story that you have, or a memorable thing you've seen that stands out?
Oh, yeah, the Gathering pops off. I would say my first Gathering was the most one where I was like, what is going on here? Like, wow, like I had heard of this, but like, what is this? Like, and I was so like interested and amazed by it. And I could right away sense this bond that I wasn't yet a part of. And I really wanted to be a part of it somehow. I didn't know how yet. And it was weird. It was like, I never tried to cater to Juggalos, but they embraced my music. I guess it was like just energy. I don't really know how to explain it, but now this is my fifth Gathering I'm playing at, and everyone's kind of saying what's up. Like, I'm part of this community now. I'm part of this family. You know, same with technicians, same with all the kind of similar movements. Like, this is underground hip hop. Like, we got it. We all got each other's back. Like, this is a special thing. You know, we're living in a different time now, and what we do is dope to me because we all stick together. Like, doesn't matter what's going on in the rest of the world. Like, we're here to preserve and progress in the underground hip hop culture. And I feel like at the bottom of the day, like at the end of the day, that's what we're all here to do together. It's a special thing for sure.
Absolutely. And I know that, the Juggalos, they expect the best, and they'll tell you if you're not bringing your best. And I guess, when you come to do, the Gathering and stuff, is that something you're aware of, that you have to bring it, or is it sort of just natural for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm under the weather right now, and this will tell you a lot about Juggalos. They didn't care that I wasn't here to do. They didn't care that I wasn't here to couldn't do my best yesterday. They cared that I showed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That I had the heart to get on a plane, even though I was under the weather, and come out, show face. And I'm gonna go on today, even though I'm still under the weather. And I know that even if it isn't the best show that I've ever done, it's like, this is how it works. It's like everybody's coming up to me being like, I heard you're sick, man. Like, how the hell does everybody in 4,000 people already know that I'm sick today? Like, that's a community. You feel me? It's not like, it's such a special thing to be a part of, man. I don't even sound corny, but it's fucking dope, man.
No, absolutely. And it's actually perfect timing, too, because your new album, Darkest Hour, comes out. I think when this hits, it'll already be out. But I just sort of want to get into that now. Obviously, it's a powerful title. What was the inspiration behind the title?
Well, we all go through ups and downs, and I definitely went through a bit of a rough patch. I relapsed on drugs and stuff. I was sober for like a few years, and then I stumbled a few times. You know what I mean? I gotta air it out. Like, it's gonna be honest. I'm not gonna. The reason I didn't want to talk about it much before is because I want to make sure I don't want someone else to relapse because I did. It fucks with my music, but part of my language. That's what happened. So it is what it is. You know, I'm doing a lot better now. Everything's good, but I did relapse. So at that time, some difficult things happened. So this whole album reflects on that time period, although it does not particularly talk about anything that happened. It was kind of touches more on the place I was at when I made that record.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed on the album art, the clock says 2:51, I believe. Is there any deeper meaning to that?
Yeah, the special thing about that cover is his mom passed away years ago, and she was an actress and a photographer. Evidence is a photographer, and she taken that picture. It was a perfect. The cover has a lot of meaning. Rest in peace to Evans's mom.
And speaking of Evidence, obviously he produced the album in full. I'm curious, did you go into this project wanting him to produce it in full, or did that happen organically?
Yeah, he threw the idea at me. He's like, let's make an album, and I was like, hell yeah! I've been waiting on something on my bucket list. So, I'm with it. Evans always been like one of my favorite producers and rappers. So it was definitely something to check off my bucket list.
What were those sessions like, or when did you guys sit down to record this, and what was sort of your process?
We recorded at his house. He had a studio at his house in the back. And so every day we'd go to cool different restaurants and have lunch and hang out. And we had a really good batting average. Like every time, I think we probably used about 90% of the songs we made the album. It was just a real comfortable experience. It was, he's been a friend for a long time.
Obviously, is there any session to you that sticks out, or like one song that like really jumped at you when you created it?
Yeah. I mean, Write It Down, Black and White, which is just out now. The new video's out. It's a very fluent album. Like, if you're gonna mess with one of the songs, you probably mess with the whole record. It's a dope album, man. I think people are gonna fuck with it.
Mm-hmm. Did you, when you were creating with him, did you sort of develop the ideas around his beats, or was it you would come with a concept and he would fit that aesthetic?
Yeah, no, I usually just hear a beat and I have some ideas written down, and then kind of fit things together like a puzzle, and it just always, I just reach from within. So I don't put a lot of thought into it before I write songs. I just get in a zone where I'm just not thinking about what I'm saying to people. I'm just kind of letting out the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of how I make my art.
Yeah, and he also contributes a guest verse or two. I'm always jealous because like he's one of the best producers, and he can also rap. I personally just think it's like super unfair that he can do both so well. But
dope, yeah.
I mean, he can swing on anything. So how did you pick how did you guys make the process to like which ones he would rap on?
If he was feeling it, or if it was just that vibe that day, I'd be like, jump on this one, and he'd be like, yeah, and sit there right for a bit, and then if he, if he liked it, then he'd lay it down. So it was cool. It was fun when I think he jumped on he's on 4 tracks, I believe. Mm-hmm. So every time he jumped on one, I was like, yes, another one with that.
And you also had Alchemist on there as well. I know all you guys are close. How did that one come about?
Yeah, I got heavy hitters on this album, bro.
Absolutely.
Heavy hitters. I'm so proud of those guys, man. And Jason Goldwatch, that's like the first kind of dudes, them and Dilated People's Evidence, Rock, DJ Babu, Alchemist, Jason Goldwatch. So those are my people from back from the B-Boy Summit. So to see how well everyone has done, I'm so proud of everybody. It's just a really dope thing, man. Mm-hmm. See everybody still doing what we do, staying in our lane, still having success. That's a beautiful life.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's almost like a sort of a one of my favorite projects Alchemist and Evidence did was the Step Brothers. I thought that was like really fucking a great project.
Step Brothers.
And and you almost have sort of like a Step Brothers like reunion on one of the tracks. How did you land that Alchemist verse And like, what was the process behind getting that one?
Oh, just that, we're just, how you have friends for life. You might not hang out every day, but every time you see each other, it's like you saw him a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how Alchemist and I are. He's always shown me love, and he just looked out. I don't ask for favors, really much. So, he just showed love, and I'm thankful for it.
Absolutely. And one of the singles that was released was Write It Down. It was actually released last year, and I read in an interview, I think it was last April, that you had just completed the album, and that's like over a year. I'm just curious what the decision to wait until now to release the album was.
I did a lot of touring. I think I did like 180 shows or something like that. So it was just like, life happens sometimes and things change and the business situations you're in switch up. So it was just kind of getting the house in order, and I wasn't in a rush to put out the record. I was still touring, but I'm glad to be getting new music out there. Like, that's important.
What's it like sort of sitting on music that long? I mean, I know you must balance trying to get everything in order with also wanting your fans to hear everything you're doing. What's that like to just sit on music for like almost a year?
Well, I used to get real anxious, but I've learned to be patient. So, you want everybody to hear everything right away, but there's a process you have to go through to make sure you can get it out properly. And I guess things can just go viral too, but that's like, rolling the dice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've learned to be patient. Things come out the right way, then just because I was impatient, throw it out right away and only reach a certain amount of people. I'd rather everybody that mess with my music know that I got music coming out.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's such a rare now. This trend seems to be everyone's just releasing everything as often as they can. So it's interesting to hear you learn that patience.
Yeah, it's a different world we live in right now.
Absolutely.
Boy. And what are your thoughts on it?
On just sort of how much, I don't know. I mean, I think it all varies on the artist. I think for some artists, you need to be constantly hitting people with music. But for other artists, I mean, I don't know. I think it's I also think it's hard because fans, as soon as something drops, immediately want the next thing. And it must be, I can't imagine for you guys how frustrating it is to, drop something and then just have people asking for the next thing.
I've got pretty great fans. I'm happy with my fans. People that support me.
Absolutely, and yeah, you do have
following everybody on Strange Music, so I got a real fan base. Like, I've been doing this for 18 years. And I ain't going anywhere. You feel me? Like, I got classics. Tech, Chris, everybody got classics. So we're good. We're here.
Yeah.
Necro, everybody from underground.
Yeah,
I don't feel that pressure, and I don't think they probably don't feel that pressure either. Because we have a whole catalog, a library of music we made over the years. I think this oversaturation stuff is a bit much, but I'm happy that, and a lot of artists have short careers, but they blow up quickly now, and they might get a shorter ride, but at least more people are getting to experience their dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I see that being a positive thing. You know what I mean? I'm seeing a lot of people like blow up on the internet or on YouTube or whatever, and then you're like a year and a half later, where'd that person go? But at least they got to, experience the ride. So more and more people, so that's cool.
Right. Yeah, but it is interesting because I feel like it's the first time in the industry where people can really just blow up with a hit that goes viral, and then it's hard to do that, and you don't really go through the process and learn about releasing music and everything. I just think it's interesting to see the sort of quick hitters.
They don't learn the process. Yeah, the only problem is I would say is that as when you're an artist, you usually emulate someone at first or a few different artists that you like, and then you eventually get through that phase and you become a true artist when you find your voice, your style. And the only thing I feel it kind of sucks for some of the people jumping in too fast is they're not giving enough time to find themselves. A lot of things sound very similar now. That would be one of my only critiques.
Mm-hmm. Critique
you
is
agree? You agree with that?
Absolutely. And I think I also see it. I'm always interested in the way the industry works and that, in terms of like publishing and deals and everything. And you see artists, who blow up so quick and then don't know sort of what deals they're getting themselves into or that kind of thing. So I think it's hard.
Yeah.
They're thrust in the spotlight so quickly, and it's hard to adapt to that as a young artist.
I mean, it was numbers. I mean, we were, it was one point where things were 4 years away, so massive when we were young, man. That takes time to adjust to, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely a process. So you've seen some of these kids that are like 17, 16, 15, 18, blowing up now. I don't know to what degree they blow up to, but I know that they get 30 million views or 20 million views on YouTube. So that obviously gives them a platform to go on tour and be a successful artist. So yeah, it must be a trip.
Yeah. What advice would you give someone who maybe is on that verge or trying to just sort of make a name for themselves in the industry?
I would say be careful. If you're watching too much of what's going on right now, you're going to poison yourself. Like, it's cool to like pay attention and be hip and know what's going on. But I wouldn't get, I would make sure that if you found your own voice, once you find that, like, that's the most important thing.
Definitely, absolutely.
Get out there and tour and connect with people and have fun.
Yeah, I think touring has become such a huge part of it, even for artists who have those, great SoundCloud numbers and stuff. If you're not out there touring, it's hard to make a lasting impact.
Absolutely. Yeah. Touring is a big part of it now. If you don't like touring, man,
yeah, touring's actually, always been you guys, Tech does a lot of touring, Swollen members do a lot of touring and stuff. When did you as Swollen members or just as, Madchild realize that touring was a very, very crucial part of it? Was there a specific tour or a time?
Yeah, I think just from the beginning back, maybe 2002, 2003, we realized like this is just part of it. Back then we'd always have, tour buses and everything, and people were playing stadiums and festivals, but as things changed and we were doing some festivals and more club shows and stuff like that, whichever way it was going, touring was just always a massive part of it. And I love it. Like, I feel more comfortable in a hotel room than when I'm at home. So you get to come into a fresh new room and make a mess of it, leave the next day, you get a fresh new room again. It's perfect.
Never have to wash towels.
Never have to wash anything, never have to do anything. It's all just done. It's great. I'm single still, so that's fun. And I get to bring my dog with me, Lola. I was lit. I like it.
What kind of dog you have?
I got a little Chihuahua. She's getting older now. Her name's Lola. A lot of people that fuck with me are hip to Lola. She's on a lot of my videos and stuff. Yeah, so
do you bring her to shows and everything, or what does she do when you're like on stage?
Yeah, sometimes she comes to shows, but it's very loud.
Yeah.
I brought her on stage a couple times, but I think it's too loud, so usually she's back at the hotel now.
Okay. Man, I'd love to bring my dog on tour.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I want to sort of switch gears and get back into the music a little bit. Recently released a video for Broken Record. I just feel like aesthetic-wise, it fits the song perfectly. How did you develop that concept and the look for it?
Evidence just hooked me up with director Puni. He's done a lot of work for Ev, and he's done a lot of work for a lot of people, I should say. For Sean, I mean, you name it, to massive artists. And I just like the style and his taste, very tasteful. So he hooked me up with Puni, and we clicked. So we've been making videos, and that was kind of his concept, and I was like, that's great. I love it. I love the simplicity of it. The song already says enough. Mm-hmm. So it was cool. Awesome. I think some people say they get dizzy from it, but
might have to put a warning in front of it. But
yeah.
Now the album, it's cool I get to talk to you today because the album drops tomorrow, and I always am interested sort of that it must be sort of nervous and excited and a weird mixture of feelings right before the album drops. How are you feeling today? And like, sort of, what are your expectations for the album?
I think, I think it's going to do good. I think I've got a American tour lined up, and a Canadian tour, Australian tour, European, the UK tour. So everything is lined up, and I feel good about it, man. I think, like I said, everything comes in waves, you know. So yeah, I think I'm about to catch a wave right now and ride that, and then keep it moving with more new music. I think just the key to longevity is just consistency, but making sure you're at your best.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any specific goals or, you know, things you're trying to reach with this album that'll like make you feel like you accomplished what you wanted to?
Not really. It's just another release.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? It's there's no specific goals at hand or anything like that. It's a dope record. I'm proud of it. I think people are gonna mess with it. They're gonna fuck with it, and I'm gonna tour and keep moving like it's always been. That's it.
Do you have any release day rituals, like something you do?
Am I supposed to have more feelings about it?
No, that's perfect. I mean, it's always just an interesting.
Okay.
It's an interesting space because it's almost, you know, like a few hours before it drops. So I'm just curious, sort of like, you know, what's going on in your head.
There was times where releases there was more whatever you call it, anxiety or anticipation or whatever. I guess I'm just maybe a little comfortable right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's the word for it. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, I'm just chill with how it goes. I'm good with it because I love the record. I feel like I did my thing. Evidence and everybody blessed me. I don't think you can talk shit about this record. Like, everybody snapped.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm cool with like however it ends up. We did our thing. So.
No, I think
I'm comfortable with that.
I think that's good, and I think it's hard now. You know, it sort of goes back to what we talk about, where people blow up and then they're gone. It's like sort of to have these specific expectations, especially with streaming and stuff. It's hard. The sales don't mean as much anymore. So I think if you go into it already confident, I think it'll speak volumes to sort of the output or what the reception is.
Oh yeah, I put it on the table with this one, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's there. If you listen, bro, it's there. I'm cool.
Mm-hmm. And now, do you have any album day release rituals? Like, do you get a nice meal? Do you have a drink? What do you do when the album drops?
Not really. No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I want to wrap it.
I answer comments.
I guess that's a good one. That's a good one to do.
Yeah.
Now I have 3 random questions just to close it out. You're heading to the gas station to get a snack and a drink. What are you getting?
What am I getting?
Yeah.
Either like a fruit, like organic fruit juice, or a Monster, or unfortunately a pack of Marlboro Lights. I'm gonna quit though, and that's about it. I hit the store for something to drink and cigarettes.
All right, cool. And then next question: the Dalai Lama hands you.
And I guess gas if I need it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was going besides gas. What do you get? Now the next one: the Dalai Lama hands you the aux cord. What song from your library are you going to show him?
I'd have to get back to you. I'll text you the answer.
All right, that sounds good. And the last one: if you could have done the score for one movie ever, which one would it be?
Goodfellas.
Oh man, that's a good one.
This is the genius, Chris Calico. Cali, baby. Letting you know you're tuned into Tech Nine's Independent Grind on Dash Radio.